Prerequisites for the Practice by Jigme Lingpa. People who embark upon the path of the Mahayana, the supreme path of beings of great scope leading to omniscience, should try to acquire 4 circumstances. They should 1. Live in solitude, in a place that has all the necessary conditions and is in harmony with the Dharma. They should 2. Frequent a teacher who is learned in the Tripitaka and steeped in the practice of the 3 trainings. By doing this, they will avoid the inferior attitudes of ordinary folk as well as the wrong behavior that leads to suffering, and they will acquire all the good qualities deriving from the Dharma of transmission and realization. They should, in addition, nourish an intense wish to practice in accordance with the teaching expounded by their master, and should 4. Zealously adopt the supreme protection afforded by the merit accumulated in their past and present existences. The Venerable Nagarjuna refers to these 4 conditions as the 4 wheels, the idea being that, just as someone riding in a horse-drawn chariot can cover in a short time a distance that would take many days for a cow or ox, a Bodhisattva taking advantage of these 4 conditions will progress speedily toward omniscience. Nagarjuna refers to them in his Suhrllekha when he says, "Your dwelling place befits the task. You keep the company of holy beings. With highest aspirations and a store of merit, you have indeed the 4 wheels all complete." Living in the midst of many people, in a town, for instance, or even living in solitude, if you continue to behave negatively and neglect your studies, is the source of many defects. Such a habitat is like poisonous food because although you may be happy in the immediate term, your happiness will turn sour. You will get caught up in the likes and dislikes of people. You will get involved in disputes and things like agriculture and trade, entertainments, wealth and reputation, crowds and distractions. You will accumulate possessions which you will then want to look after and increase. You will receive gifts from people who look up to you and offerings for ceremonies to be done for the dead. You must shun such a ruinous environment and in solitude yearn for the path of serenity that leads beyond suffering. You should be rather like the wind, without a care for wealth and reputation, like a bird that lays no claim to land and livelihood, and like the animals that live wild upon the lonely hills. To be able to live in such perfect solitude, untroubled by reckless distractions and irreligious behavior, is fortunate indeed, and you have every reason to rejoice in it sincerely. If, on the other hand, you base yourself in one place, a village, for example, or even a monastery, and stay there all the time, you will inevitably fall in with people and build up commitments to family and friends. If you are well known and influential, you will become the object of jealousy, and though you may be able to put up with it for a time, it will eventually wear away your patience and resolve. Consider the nature of a cat. A cat's mind is intractable and cruel, and it gives itself to acts of wickedness such as killing. Yet outwardly, it appears to be the most peaceful and good-natured of creatures. Whether it moves or sits still, you hardly notice it. Its voice is so soft, and you would never think that it had claws. But let it see a bird or mouse, and the cat will leap on it with all its might. Therefore, have a care for the company you keep. Bad friends at first seem pleasant companions, so considerate and generous, but in the long run, they bring ruin to beginners in the practice, who naively consort with them, and whose compassion is fragile. The pleasant, amusing society of such friends will quickly draw you away from the sacred Dharma. Dharma practitioners should nevertheless be on friendly, easygoing terms with everyone, just like the sun and moon, which, thanks to their steady and continuous motion, are appreciated by everyone the world over. Quarrels over wealth and so forth come from staying constantly in one place. On the other hand, If you move on as soon as you get to know people and are on familiar terms with them, you will find that wherever you go, there will be no reason for disputes, and everyone will consider you a friend. It may appear that spiritual masters sometimes speak angrily or with words of attachment, and sometimes they seem to enjoy gossiping like ordinary folk who are driven here and there by their uncontrolled thoughts. But for such masters who have perfect control of their minds, good and bad circumstances have but a single taste, and regardless of what they say, sharp or sweet, they remain free from craving and resentment. Their minds are not entangled in their words, which resound simply like an echo. They are beyond all sense of indulgence and rejection. They strive impartially for the welfare of all beings. To such masters as these, what was said about the proper place to live does not apply. They can live anywhere. By contrast, if you wish to embrace the utterly pure discipline that leads to the perfection of nirvana, and to set yourself single-mindedly in authentic samadhi, and if your practice of the 3 trainings is not yet stable, you should take great care. If you are able to remain in solitude and with good companions, your practice of the 3 trainings will bear rich fruit. It will not amount to much if you stay in a crowd and keep bad company. To humble his disciples' pride in social rank, physical appearance, and wealth, our teacher, Lord Buddha, authorized the begging for alms. If the giving of alms is performed with the 3 purities of preparation, main part, and conclusion, it generates merit for the benefactor. In addition, it reduces the worldly involvements of the Dharma practitioners, for they have all that is necessary to feed and clothe themselves without having to curry favor or engage in commerce or agriculture. As a result, their practice of the 3 trainings will not decline. Begging in such a way as this, in circumstances where there is merit for both practitioner and benefactor, is in harmony with the Dharma and is like a wish-granting jewel. Of the many impure ways of finding sustenance mentioned in the teachings, there are 5 that are extremely improper. First, there is a kind of indirect stealing which consists of pretending that you are poor, while in fact concealing your possessions. Second, there is trying to get someone to give you something by pointedly praising the past generosity of others, or else by giving small tokens in the hope of some large recompense. Third is to cajole people into giving you things either by flattery or by suggesting in a roundabout way that you are a good person. Fourth is to pretend to be a great Dharma practitioner, when in reality you are a woeful disgrace. Finally, there is the attempt to secure ample provisions by parading your rank and pedigree. These are 5 incorrect ways of securing a livelihood. For anyone wishing to progress toward liberation, they are highly discreditable. With regard to diet, the Lankavatara Sutra says, killing animals for profit's sake and giving money for the meat thereof are evil acts that lead to being boiled in lamentation or the other hells. And also there is no meat that's pure in these 3 ways, and so I will refrain from eating flesh. For this reason it is said that one should refrain from eating meat. If you do eat it, you should feel responsible for the dead animal and with compassion recite dharanis, mantras, and prayers of dedication for it. Thus you should keep to a solitary place and an excellent seat of grass, relying on alms, the best of livelihoods. You should associate with virtuous friends whose conduct is wholesome. If you endeavor in this way with faith and respect, and diligently train yourself in the techniques of shamatha and vipassana, your wisdom will gradually become sharper, and your determination to persevere in the practice will be roused. To cultivate the qualities of the 3 trainings not yet possessed, and to perfect the qualities already gained, it is essential to rely on a fully qualified spiritual master, expert in the key points of the 3 trainings. It is said that when a log of ordinary wood lies in the forests of Malaya, that great garden of medicinal plants. It will be impregnated with the moisture dripping from the leaves of the sandalwood trees and will gradually imbibe the sweet perfume of sandal. In just the same way, if you are able to frequent a spiritual master, you will quickly acquire the latter's qualities. In times gone by, in the period of the teaching's immediate result, disciples with pure minds had no trouble in meeting great spiritual masters and siddhas who exhibited all the signs of authenticity as described in the sutras and the tantras. But in the present age of decadence, it is extremely difficult to come upon such masters. Nevertheless, it is essential to rely on spiritual friends whose minds are like excellent earth, well tilled both by the knowledge of the precepts of the three vows as explained in the texts, and by faultless conduct unstained by negative emotion. The earth of their minds should be moist with the knowledge of both the words and meanings of the sacred texts and their commentaries, themselves the source of their own freedom, and it should be saturated with great compassion and a loving concern for all that lives. It should yield, too, a harvest that is rich in a proficiency in the vast array of ceremonies and rituals of the Tripitaka and the four classes of Tantra, in a practice that is not merely verbal, but penetrates to the essence, and in the overflowing stock of stainless wisdom resulting from the elimination of the twofold veil and the realization of all the qualities of liberation. It is thus that brilliant flowers will blossom, the four ways in which masters attract disciples who are fortunate in treading the path of liberation. The latter are like bees that come and savor the quintessential nectar of instruction. These four ways are: 1. A generosity that is completely free from attachment. 2. A way of teaching that is attuned to the disciples' minds. 3. The ability to introduce them to the practice that leads to freedom. And 4. The fact that the teacher practices what he or she preaches. The Buddha said in the Mahabharata Sutra, "Ananda, do not sorrow. Ananda, do not weep. In future, I will come again, appearing as your spiritual friend, to act for your and others' sake." We should therefore understand that a true teacher is the Buddha come again,